The vehicle under review is one of the most important toys of my childhood. This toy is like a personal holy grail. It is the Cobra Hammerhead. And it is probably the largest contributing factor to me being a die-hard Joe collector today. It's also why I'm more of a vehicle guy than a figure guy. It was July of 1993. I'd spent the last day of my family's European trip traipsing around London looking for something to blow my saved up allowance on. Correction, I wasn't looking. I knew what I wanted. I'd scoped it out already. I was just looking for the best price because £1 sterling or two more or less made a big difference to an 8-year-old. The toy was the Cobra Hammerhead, and to this poor deprived South African kid it was the largest G.I. Joe box he had ever laid eyes on. 23 years later, it's still in my collection. And the years with her have been good. The Hammerhead marks Cobra's continued nautical shift. Probably got something to do with having a headquarters on an island. Not even 2 years after the Bug saw release, Hasbro cooked up another amphibious craft with overlapping capabilities. But for me, the Hammerhead always came first, and was not easily usurped. A lot had to do with her captain. He's called Decimator, a name that perhaps would better attach to a Decepticon combiner. It's nevertheless suitably badass for the operator of this beast. And he has a very distinguished look. Dark grey double-breasted jacket with the collar popped, campaign ribbons proudly displayed, signature capital H belt buckle, dark green galoshes with future stuff attached, diving weights, and a splash of yellow balaclava, which to 90s me made him Water Ninja. And then the helmet. Before you hate on it, hear what the file card has to say. Decimator's helmet gives the wearer a 180-degree view at all times in almost complete darkness. This allows the Decimator to keep his eyes on the target at all times while speeding around on the beach. And it looks like a hammerhead shark they should have added. But the file card authors of 1990 were still trying their damnedest to fight the losing battle to suspend disbelief that what you held in your hands was not a small plastic man, but a grizzled maritime warrior. Those writers were a dying breed. You can also tell a lot about the vehicle driver by his choice of weapon. It's a spear gun, with 3 spears loaded. Not sure how that's supposed to work, but I like it. It's brutal. I can just imagine the scenario of him scuttling his vessel and dispatching a few Joe Frogmen as he ascends to the surface. Sure beats a bland old pistol or rifle, but not a knife. Knife would have been the coolest. But this is a unique accessory in the line, and we'll leave it at that. The file card also has this to say about the vehicle. Cobra Island is surrounded by open beaches which are at the very least hostile environments for tanks of any sort. The Hammerhead was specifically developed to function in shallow coastal waters, sand, and scrub vegetation. Sacrificing heavy armor protection for speed and agility, the Hammerhead requires a driver with lightning-fast reflexes and exceptional peripheral vision. So like the Bug, the Hammerhead's primary occupation is to maintain security around Cobra Island's coast. Like the Bug, it can deploy scoutcraft to help facilitate this function. But while the Bug had a 2-man pod that detached, and 2 jet skis that could be pulled out of storage, the Hammerhead can deploy 5 smaller watercraft, one of which apparently can also fly. Up top we have the airborne/undersea command module with pivoting radar unit. My radar unit is glued in place with a snapped-off aerial, so no pivoting here. But the command module features the best and only molded instrument detail on the vehicle, a perfect position for Decimator to occupy to coordinate his forces. The canopy hinge arms have been broken and re-glued more times than I can count, so be gentle. The drivers sit up front under bubble canopies, great visibility, radical color scheme. There are 2 CNET penetrating low-noise attack subs, which look a great deal like 2 large torpedoes with smaller torpedoes stuck to them, especially considering that the operator is lying down in there with no controls or anything resembling instruments. Cobra! And lastly, there are 2 surface-skimming diversionary sea sled scoutcraft, which secure their operators using the popular clip system of the late 80s and early 90s. I love how these things have corresponding numberings to their lockup points. And there are these teeny tiny little gun barrels which can do plausibly what underwater? These craft essentially split the Hammerhead 6 ways, 5 detachable mini-submersibles and the remaining wheeled vehicle, and thereby increase the amount of coast that any one Hammerhead can police. For armament, the Hammerhead carries a heavy payload of ordnance, even if they are all small and lumo green. It dawned on me that I've had this vehicle in my collection for almost 25 years and not lost a single one of her 22 projectiles, so don't knock the color choice. 14 torpedoes spread over the detachable vehicle fleet, and 2 surface-to-surface missiles mounted on the white subs in spring-loaded launchers that still function perfectly. Oh yeah. The launcher can be alternatively placed on the spoiler. The launchable missiles can also be stored in the same fashion as the torpedoes, and there are 4 launchable missiles included, so you have some options as to how you arm your subs. The final 4 missiles are held in an elevating housing beneath the Black Command sub. I like to think of those as surface-to-air missiles, giving the Hammerhead a bit more bite. Also, if they can be launched from a submerged position, the Hammerhead would have a very effective element of surprise over attacking aircraft. They have a unique attachment point as well, a post that these claw clips attach to. The plastic is pretty sturdy, not brittle. Thanks, Hasbro. The weapons that continue to bug me though are these 2 twin-bow laser cannons. They are fixed 0 degrees forward but can pivot up and down, so the driver can pick off targets above or below the bow, but only when they are directly in the path of the vehicle. Rather limited use there. A little bit of side-to-side motion would have been much appreciated. The hull of the wheeled vehicle is grey, and has flares in front that emulates a Hammerhead shark. It serves no purpose that I can think of, but does give the vehicle a unique look. I do like the width that it gives the craft, which then flows into the subs. The Cobra sigils on the hull and detachable craft have a Hammerhead shark swimming through it. Personalizing the classic Cobra symbol for a specific vehicle is a nifty tradition that I'm glad the Hammerhead continues. And then there is this glorious sticker. The ultimate expression of Cobra's flair for fearsome weapons, ferocious creatures, and throwing both of those into the ideas blender. This might be my favorite sticker the G.I. Joe line has ever produced. Look at all those teeth! Funny though, real Hammerheads are pretty timid creatures. Not this ship, sister. The Hammerhead also possesses a decompression chamber. That is a mighty compassionate move for Cobra, as decompression chambers function to assist in relieving the symptoms of decompression sickness associated with making a dive ascent quicker than your body can handle. I think what the designers actually intended was to use the chamber to deploy a diver or pick one up. It's pretty cramped, but I distinctly remember this being my favorite feature as a child. It would produce a never-ending supply of bad guys for my hero to take out. As an adult, I wished the cavity was expanded on, as there is a little more space aft of the chamber which I can only imagine is unused. It would be nice if the diver could access this area. It even has molded hatches, but they A, go nowhere, and B, are the wrong way round. The small maintenance hatch is the one that leads aft, and the large man-sized door leads to the missile silo. What's the sense of that? I historically didn't like the fact that the Hammerhead is just a massive collection of smaller vehicles. I acknowledged the fun, I acknowledged it all my youth as they swooped through the skies as aircraft or spacecraft, but the split-apart feature hurts the remainder's weaponry and its function. How does it move through the water without propulsion from the subs? The individual vehicles are also rather cheapish shells, with few parts and not a great deal going for them. The subs don't lock into place, so they have a tendency to slide and swing out if you're conducting heavy maneuvers. The laser cannons on the main vehicle have no rotation to engage anything other than targets in front. Also, the big wheels are hollow shells. You can race a Hammerhead around the beach for approximately 7 seconds before they are completely sand-clogged and frozen in place, just getting dragged about. So which is the preferred vehicle, Bug or Hammerhead? It's the classic question. Both have nostalgia factors in their favour for me. For the Hammerhead, I was fortunate enough to be let loose on Hamley's toy shop in London at the age of 8 and grabbed the biggest box I could throw my 8-year-old arms around. The flight from London to Cape Town was spent constructing the various craft and I was loving it. As soon as I got home, my best friend stopped over, we finished off the sticker placement, and his envy was apparent. But which is the better vehicle? Honestly, my opinion changes virtually month to month. They both rock! I'm grateful my childhood revolved around not one, but two terrific Cobra-wheeled subs, and all the swimming pools of my neighborhood to do battle in. Cobra!